Hello, what is up you guys? Today we're going to be counting down the top 10 worst celebrities people refuse to work with. Coming in at number 10 is James Franco. James has placed himself in a little bubble of public exile for using his powers for evil. The man behind some iconic characters like his portrayal as a real-life filmmaker Tommy Wiseau, his role as Harry Osborn in the original Spider-Man trilogy, and so many more, seemed to be on his way to a long, successful career following multiple collaborations with longtime friend Seth Rogen, as well as his turn in more serious roles like True Story as a man on death row telling his tale of woe to a writer played by Jonah Hill. Apparently though, James has a problem keeping his hands to himself, especially when it comes to his acting students. In 2018, 5 female students at Studio 4 acting school in North Hollywood told the Los Angeles Times that Franco had parlayed his position to exploit them physically. 2 of these women sued, and Franco was forced to settle outside of court and fork over the $2.23 million. At the time, he was writing, acting, and directing a show for HBO called The Deuce, which he was allowed to stay on and finish since it was being cancelled anyway. Not only did fans call for the cancellation of the series, but the public outcry forced Seth Rogen to drop his longtime pal, telling the Times of London that the scandal has changed their relationship and he refuses to collaborate with James anytime in the near future. And at number 9 we have Mike Meyers. He's Canadian, he's a comedian. How could this guy be mean? Well, it turns out it's his default setting. Mike may be well known in the world of Hollywood as a funny man, but to his fans he's known as a short-tempered madman. One experience was shared with the media outlet Mean Stars, in which a fan told a story of running into Mike at a bar, with the experience being disastrous as the love guru, like anything, could be so bad. The fan walked up and told Mike he was a big fan and offered to buy him a drink, to which Mike replied with, "I can afford my own drinks. Save the cash for my next movie." There are several instances, both on and off sets, showcasing his difficulty working with people. His Cat in the Hat co-star Amy Hill claimed that he had handlers dress his entire trailer and his work area was entirely covered with tenting because he didn't want anybody to physically see him. Maybe his reputation as a difficult Donnie has something to do with Hollywood seemingly blacklisting him from appearing as a lead in anything until his recent show aired on Netflix. A show where he's forced to play half the cast because he couldn't get more people to work with him. Maybe it has something to do with the love guru. Just maybe. And at number 8 we have Dave Chapelle. Dave Chapelle dominated the comedy scene in the 90s and early 2000s. His stand-up was considered the most gut-busting and entertaining around, and his role in films like The Nutty Professor, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and the cult classic Half-Baked. He took a bit of a break from starring in films to focus on his family and his true passion, stand-up comedy. Despite being on stage for over 12 years, Dave never really learned to follow suit with the times, and there were certain topics that became rude to joke about. Many jokes considered funny in the 80s and 90s have not aged well, and unfortunately that seems to be all the material Dave has. In one of the most recent Netflix specials, he made jokes aimed at the LGBTQ+ community. Jokes not worth quoting or repeating. They were rough enough to have Dave fans turn on him immediately. While he was cancelled by his fans, Netflix actually defended the comedian, claiming he had artistic freedom even after a group of Netflix employees and transgender advocates staged a virtual walkout. The co-CEO, Ted Sarandis, who released the statement, later admitted that he handled the situation poorly. Did you accidentally defend a man that was making fun of gay people? Gosh darn. Dave hasn't been cast in anything anytime in recent history, as any and all who've collaborated with him in the past have distanced themselves as much as possible. And coming in at number 7 is Roseanne Barr. In the late 80s, Roseanne started a sitcom titled after herself, and she starred alongside Hollywood heavyweight John Goodman in a series that followed the couple's everyday lives as a working class family. The show aired for 230 episodes, eventually being cancelled in the mid-90s. The show was eventually revived in 2018 as the same wholesome content for a new generation. Unfortunately for Roseanne, sitcom producers have Twitter. Her show was quickly cancelled only a few hours following Barr posting a tweet about Valerie Jarrett, telling the world that she was the product of Planet of the Apes and a certain brotherhood had a baby. She later apologized for the tweets, but the damage was done. ABC Entertainment president Channing Dungey said in a statement that Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with their values. Again, with the values. Barr actually defended her tweets, saying they were not racist, but in fact a joke. Yeah, those can be the same thing, Rosie. She's yet to be hired by any studio and has stayed silent ever since. And at number 6 is J.K. Rowling. As a Harry Potter geek, this one stings. J.K. Rowling is known for being the author of the much-loved Harry Potter book series that was eventually adapted in 7 Gloriously Magical Movies and Order of the Phoenix. In June 2020, Rowling retweeted an op-ed piece that discussed people who menstruate, apparently taking issue with the fact that the article didn't use the word women. She tweeted, "People who menstruate? I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out." This tweet garnered massive amounts of backlash from fans. Rowling doubled down on her views in more detail, and she tweeted, "If gender isn't real, there's no same-gender attraction. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of gender removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. lives. She went on to say that she respected trans people's right to live in any way that feels authentic to them, but at the same time, her life had been shaped by being female. She claimed it wasn't wrong to speak the truth and to be proud, but no. Everyone in the world called JK out for her comments and views, with the live-action Harry Potter stars even taking to Twitter to call out her behavior, standing with the trans community. She unfortunately still makes money off the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but she's been refused work on set for the rest of her days, having to watch her property prosper without her. Now at number 5 is Morgan Freeman, the voice of God himself. Morgan Freeman has been soothing the soul of many for many years. To this day, families can hear Morgan narrate the world around them in an immersive 360 IMAX screen at the Science Center in Toronto. He may be a comfort to some, but according to a few women, Morgan is their nightmare. Morgan has been accused of inappropriate behavior on multiple occasions between 1991 and 2015. According to one production assistant from the film Going in Style, a bank heist movie starring Freeman, Michael Caine and Alan Arkin said that Freeman subjected a woman to unwanted touching and comments about her figure and clothing on a near daily basis. This move is rarely received well. Get a new move, or better yet, don't have a move. Just walk up and say hi and show her your Beanie Baby collection. According to her, in one instance, Freeman attempted to lift her skirt and asked to see under her clothes. She was not the only one to speak out. A senior member of production staff on the movie, Now You See Me Too, told CNN that Freeman harassed her and her female assistant on numerous occasions, making similar comments on her figure and clothes. I could go on more and more with examples, but to save time and boil it down for you, Morgan is creepy. In case you haven't noticed, he doesn't act much anymore and is regularly refused work by any and all he asks. At number 4 we have Rihanna, who is apparently a rude lady, according to some of her fans at least. A fan shared their story of a coworker who experienced firsthand just how cold she can be. They told Insider that they had won free tickets and backstage passes from a radio concert. When it came time for the coworker and her kids to meet Rihanna, she was sitting at her makeup booth and refused to face them. When the young fans asked if they could get her autograph, she instructed a nearby backup dancer to forge the signature before shooing them away like an actual villain. Oh, you want my love? Shoo! In 2016, she further added fuel to the fire when she shared a photo of a young fan wearing a dress inspired by Rihanna's Wile E. Coyote themed costume that she'd worn at an award show a few years prior. She wrote, "Dark thought rises" with the hashtag prombat. She shared the post with millions of people, alienating countless fans and ruining one fan's prom memories for the rest of their lives. Rihanna could have been the next big pop/TV star, but her attitude just makes people look at her. And at number 3 we have Tom Cruise. While Tom may be an action movie star and was once a young Hollywood heartthrob, he's had a massive temper since day one. According to both former assistants as well as several co-stars from Tom's past, Cruise is a regular toddler and is known to throw tantrums, being set off by the smallest of things. His former manager, Eileen Berlin, presented Tom with a gift on his 19th birthday. She gave him an album of teen magazine articles written about him, and apparently that set him off. He told his manager he considered himself an adult, not a teen idol, and threw the book right back in her face. Another example of Tom's aggression was on display during a filming of his recent Top Gun sequel, Top Gun Maverick. During this time, Tom and the rest of the film crew were tasked to shoot an actual aircraft carrier still in use by the US military. One of the crew posted on Twitter calling out the audacity of Tom's behavior. He tweeted Tom Cruise was really on our ship, telling people not to talk or even look at him. After a few choice words, the crewmate made it very clear that Tom was not welcome aboard their vessel. These are just 2 examples though. Tom has blown up on film crews several times in the past to the point where his Mission Impossible 2 co-star was constantly scared of Tom on set and what he may freak out about next. Needless to say, nobody is lining up to hire Tom in their next pick, other than whoever's stuck making the next Mission Impossible movie. And our runner-up is Russell Crowe, the Gladiator star and newest addition to the world of mythology in the MCU, playing Zeus. Russell has had a steady career filled with blockbuster paychecks and fans galore, but according to several sources, the Pope's exorcist has quite the temper. In 2005, he made headlines for throwing a cell phone at a Mercer hotel employee in New York City. Apparently he found out it was broken and threw it without looking. It exploded on impact. The incident ended up being taken a bit far, but that was not the only example of his escapades. In 2016 he returned to the media circuit, this time facing charges of alleged violence towards rapper Azealia Banks. That dissolved into a he said she said situation that was settled outside of court. Crowe has also made a mess on the set of his early days. A producer on the film Gladiator claims that Crowe became furious and violent when he discovered how much the producer's assistant was being being paid. The situation forced the producer Franco to quit the production. While many fans loved Crowe and Gladiator, the people on set were a different story entirely. His career is slowly on the decline as showcased by his recent passion projects The Pope's Exorcist, a low-budget, dreadful movie that almost everyone involved regrets ever participating in. And our number 1 spot goes to Taylor Swift. Taylor's tyranny of torment must end now. Taylor Swift has made a name for herself as a person who thrives on ending of a relationship. Since the late 2000s, Taylor has been making millions in the music industry. Her songs like Love Story and 22 are anthems to many. The catchy tunes tend to come from a place of so-called heartache. However, Taylor has thanked her exes on several occasions for inspiring the songs that made her who she is today. People like Tom Hiddleston, Harry Styles, Jake Gyllenhaal all have a part to play in the inception of some bops. The argument can and should be made that Taylor should just chill. She's made several songs that were good without the need to berate an ex. Some of those songs were revealing. Imagine if after every breakup you've ever had, a song pops up in your phone by U2 called Why They Left You. While she may have collaborated with some artists in the past, nobody is jumping at the chance to work with her and possibly have a song written about their bad job.